How did the parole system work for civil war prisoners of war? Have you ever wondered how captured soldiers managed to avoid spending years in prison during the American Civil War? The parole system was a fascinating approach that allowed for a more humane treatment of prisoners of war. This system operated as a formal agreement where captured soldiers promised not to return to combat until they were officially exchanged for enemy prisoners of equal rank. It was based on an honor code that was well recognized in military tradition, aiming to ease the burden of holding large numbers of prisoners. The process began right after a battle. Once soldiers were captured, they were often paroled within a few days, typically within 10 days of their capture. These paroled soldiers made a personal promise not to fight again until they received official notification of an exchange. Breaking this promise could lead to severe consequences, including execution if they were recaptured while fighting before being exchanged. While waiting for their exchange, paroled soldiers did not immediately return to combat. Instead, they awaited official word that an equivalent number of enemy prisoners had been exchanged. Until that notification came, they were considered non-combatants and were not allowed to rejoin their units. To manage these paroled soldiers, the Union established parole camps where they could wait for their exchange. Notable camps included Camp Parole near Annapolis, Camp Chase in Ohio, and Benton Barracks near St. Louis. In contrast, the Confederacy typically allowed their paroled soldiers to return home, expecting them to report back to duty once they were officially exchanged. The parole system had a significant impact on prisoner populations. Union prisons saw dramatic drops in prisoner numbers as parolees were released under the condition of their parole. This reduced strain on prison facilities and allowed for quicker turnover of prisoners. However, the system was not without its challenges. There were concerns about potential abuses, as some soldiers might try to avoid returning to combat. To combat this, the Union War Department issued orders to prevent parolees from simply taking furloughs at home without reporting to the designated parole camps. The entire system relied heavily on the honor of the soldiers involved. As the war drew to a close, the parole system was also used in surrender terms. Most notably, at Appomattox, Confederate soldiers were paroled and allowed to return home without fear of prosecution, provided they observed their parole and did not take up arms again. This helped facilitate a smoother transition and healing after the conflict. In essence, the parole system was a practical solution for managing prisoners of war during the Civil War. It relied on soldiers' honor to refrain from fighting until exchanged and involved designated camps or home furloughs depending on the side. While it reduced the strain on prison facilities, it also required careful oversight to prevent misuse. The system played a significant role in prisoner management and in the final surrender arrangements of the war.